Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Alex here with Fishery or Secret History. I don't know. We're trying out Fishery, but uh, we're up. Hope we're up and live. If you guys give me the sound and video check, we'll try to double check over here too, so I can see all the questions today simultaneously on the other tablet, and then that way StreamYard won't hide from me all the amazing discussions y'all are having. All right, guys. Okay, you can hear and see me fine. All right, good. It's alive. Yes, it is. It is. Yeah, I found out that for some reason Google Chrome won't support StreamYard right now. It says that I have like a pop-up blocker on or something. So I had to download what is this even? I don't know, Windows. It's not Explorer, it's something else, but I don't know what it's called. It's the one that came with Windows. Edge, is that what it's called? Microsoft Edge. But in any case, how's everybody doing? Today, I wanted to kind of strike up a format change on the channel, and I feel like I have neglected the questions that come through, and that I answer questions all week long in the comments. Like this week, I've spent 4 hours each morning, like set 4 hours on the clock, answered questions and answered more off that from the comments. And it's not going to be doable, as I've said in the past, anymore with the channel size. So I want to kind of give preference. Obviously, if you're a channel member, then I can select a tab and it will highlight it. And I know that's not necessarily fair because that brings money into the equation, and not everybody has spare money right now. And so I'm still going to try to do my best. I'm still going to spend 4 hours a day doing comments. But between emails, comments, and messages and other stuff, Facebook messages, things like that, having to do with the channel, 4 hours has got to be my limit. So I want to, on the live streams, have one of the two I do a week, usually one completely on whatever you guys want to talk about, just staying here focused with you until we get everything talked out that is of interest and importance to each of you guys. And then the other stream might be more, hey, did you hear about this? Have you seen this? I might start also pulling up some other things like, National Geographic videos and reacting to news and doing fish news and new articles and things like that during the live stream. And that is in an attempt to then later, this format I'm sure you guys have seen on other channels, cut sections from the live for folks who don't want to watch the whole live. They don't want to hear the bantering in between us on the live. So that way, maybe the Friday lives, and I'm not going to commit to which day is which, but I'm going to try to balance it out with a live stream that has a subject, and I'm maybe just showing you guys around the fish room or showing you guys new and interesting things that are on my mind from the week of research and working on videos. Or we'll do, the Q&A kind of format. So I don't know, we'll see how that goes, see how everyone likes it. And yeah, so how's everybody feeling today, though? Here, it finally got sunny. It was kind of started off cold, and now it is, stream highlights of Fishery, exactly. And that way I can get Fishery done in a way that, we can gauge if people are interested too. So it won't be 15 minutes of talking about a boring article if clearly everyone's like, we already heard about this isn't relevant or whatever. But if it's something that everyone seems to be interested in, and I pop up an article and we read through it, then we can also go look at more multimedia. That's the thing, is I want to work more multimedia into it, especially for also material for shorts and things like that, so that folks with more of a ADHD kind of geared brain, which I can respect, is like, if they're trying to decide if they're interested in a topic. Like there'll still be longer form topics like I always have done on the channel, where the videos are 10 to 20 minutes long, or an hour, depending on what the topic is. But yeah, so that's my thought process. And Fishery is a segment and the name of my podcast that I've toyed with for a while. And now I think the channel name is very long, and I am hesitant to change it all the way. So that's why my name's even longer right now. There it says Fishery, and then it says Secret History Living in Your Aquarium in brackets, or parentheses rather. But you can get a hold of me from here out, and you could before, with @FishStory. So yeah. So hopefully that is a shorter way of getting at me than typing it all out. And I don't know why, but everybody has a really hard time with the channel name, especially if I'm on someone else's channel or whatever. And they've always been like, it's some, I don't know, it's the one with the long name. So maybe that'll help. So yeah, how's it going, everybody? Who's in here? We got Akuna Matata. What's going on? We've got Mr. Ireland or Mrs. Ireland. I guess I don't know. I'm gonna guess Mr. Am I right or wrong? And then Orchids and Endlers. Love that name. Also love that you are a member. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Claire Faye. Hello. Or Faye. I don't know if I'm saying that right. AB from Hawaii. What's going on? Well, thank you very kindly. He thinks I'm smart. I've got him fooled pretty good, apparently. Ringo Cat, right on. Cat and Ringo, things I like. One of these things is not like the other one, though. Going G, what's going on? Welcome, Skydancer, Nancy B, Sketty, good to see you. Randy, what's going on? You liked the Mexico video, did you? I was worried about that. I filmed 8 or 9 hours of video, lots of B-roll, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna have all this cool B-roll of me eating like Mexican, true, authentic Mexican food, and like trying crickets, and like going to the beach, and like I'll have like me riding on a moped, and then like a dirt bike and a golf cart and a truck to get out to where we're looking at the fish. And like I thought it would be kind of almost like travel vlogish. And then I realized that like none of that is that cool if I don't get anywhere and show you anything. So then I kind of changed it up, and I thought, okay, well, I'll feature the nature I did see, which wasn't a whole hell of a lot. And I will share that. And the truth, which is that their small fish are all dead in the rivers, which is really sad. But the locals confirmed as much. I couldn't go collecting there as much as I could in Seattle. Like Seattle's a rather big city, but it's cold, temperate water. I mean, our water right now is 57 degrees, even in the freshwater lakes around here. And I can still go get a net full of fish. Florida, you go and you get a net literally full of hundreds of fish. And Mexico should be the same way. But it's not. You get nothing. Linda, hello. Good to see you. Jeff Kane, always good to see you. Skipper, buddy, good to see you. Patty, the wonderful Patty, good to see you. And Donna, welcome. Who else is in here? Shady Grady, good to see you as well. Zoltan, Anthony, hello. Brody's, Bettas, what's up? Rye Guy, hey buddy. Leo, what's going on? All right, so I think I've seen most of y'all in here now. And yeah, so let me get back to the bottom now. So we go right to the bottom, then get right to the top of the star. And I slide some, I'm gonna give you a ride. Ayo, there's a name. Welcome, Ayo. Yeah, you're an intelligent Ringo Cat, though. The name is easy for you. It's all those intelligent people that overthink it, or idiots that don't think at all. We gotta blame one of those groups. You guys fight it out, decide whose fault it is, and it can't be mine. Let's see here. Also, Faye. Okay, awesome. Claire Faye. Got it. Katie, hello from Michigan. First time here? Yeah, all right. Well, welcome, Katie. I hope you do have fun. Potter, what's going on? Welcome. Discordia, what's up? You actually need help for once and not just asking questions for fun. The sooner the better. Okay, good. Let's see. Did I already miss the question? Hold on. I might have to refer to both chats here because I'm right now referring to I'm referring to StreamYard, and it has let me down if you've already asked your question, Discordia. So I can look for it again, or you can type it again, whatever happens first. Let's play that game. Jimmy Lee, what's going on? Hello, first time in chat. Also, we got some first timers. Welcome to the wonderful world of our live streams. They happen twice a week. They're around 4:30, depending on traffic and depending on internet working and doctor's appointments and just life. But I try to be around somewhere around this time. 4:30 East or Pacific time, 7:30 East Coast, and really freaking late over in the UK time and Europe, and then early in the morning for New Zealand and y'all down under. So it's great to have people from everywhere. Am I going to the Keystone Crash, Hakuna Matata Clash? I wish. I right now I have no plans to go to any events. I wish I did. I really do. I would really love to go to an event in like Ohio or Michigan or Pennsylvania. Sheer like for the event, yes, obviously I'd love to share that with you guys. I'd love to get the footage, but not just that. It's just that I would like to go collecting this summer somewhere other than just Florida. I would love to do that, to spend a few days collecting native fish somewhere other than here or Florida, or Northern California or Oregon. Those are places I can get to, or Idaho, but the fish are all the same for the most part in Northern California to Canada, to Southern Canada, kind of the same. Bill Myers, hello. Welcome. All right. So you got a cold beer and you're happy in chat. Well, that's good. Good people here, that's for sure. Bill Meyer, Ginger Graves, what's going on, Ginger? So good to see you. Always love having you here. It's good to be home for a live stream. Usually you're listening to the replay. Well, that's very sweet of you. I'm sure you always help hold it down in the chat too. All right, let's see here. Leo, what's going on, man? Fisher friends, hello. Alex, what are you going to do for green spot algae that's cyanobacteria, right? Best way to get rid of it or let it take its course. Okay, let me get this one. Then I'll get to you, Discordia. For some reason, Discordia, are you doing at this fishery? Because yeah, I'm seeing your two responses, but I'm not actually seeing your question, which frustrates the heck out of me. Also, welcome Jungle Nook and Shoreline Express, Deborah Moon. Hello. We got lots of good folks in here. Silver Creek, what's going on? We got lots of folks rolling in. Okay, so Leo, green spot algae. So if it's the kind that looks like dust that's on your glass that's hard to chip off, that's diatomaceous algae. And diatomaceous algae is actually formed by silicate and a form of diatom, go figure. So it's called diatomaceous algae. And they look like little snowflakes or crystals or geometric shapes generally. And there's a whole class of them. But they form and then they form and then they colonize the glass in thin layers generally, but they form very hard crystalline structures. And that's why they're so hard to get off. Now, you can get rid of them by not having silicates in your water. So it's usually in tanks that have some sand or silt, or maybe you're using an aqua soil that had a bit of that in there. But the best way to get rid of that, honestly, is nearite snails. They'll eat the heck out of it. Or if you have things like autosynclus and I guess you could say plecos. They're not very good at it. But autosynclus, plecos, cories, things like that, that will constantly graze on the glass, they'll help stop it from forming. Now, in the short term, nearite snails and like mocha snails, cappuccino snails, any of the snails that have a hard beak essentially are good at cleaning it. Ram's horns, bladder snails, they'll chip away at it slowly, but they're not going to keep it completely away. And so really it's down to phosphates and silicates if you want to know absolutely what's causing a diatom algae. Now, if it's the little tufts of hair that are a spot essentially, that's very short hair, it's not like long flowing green hair, then that's kind of what we call green spot algae also. And I know that's confusing that there's two names, but that is where you're looking more at your traditional normal algae. It's not some crystalline matrix. But either way, it's usually from having too much light, and diatom is generally from too much strong light. So it's usually not from like a cheap tank light. It's from like ambient light, like I have coming in from the sunlight. That can do it. If your tank light's off in the day, but that much light is still coming in, that will do it if it's natural light. And then, oh, I got your question now, Discordia. Thank you, man. And then if you have it in a tank where it's not getting extra light like that, and it's actually pitch black in between light cycles, I would say that it's probably from elevated, nitrate levels and not enough plants. I'm guessing you have a sandy substrate. So you can always add more plants and do water changes, and that'll help. But really, I mean, a Pandagara, Rufagara, flagfish, Siamese algae eaters, your traditional like algae eating fish, get the reticulated. Here, let me put this reticulatus, I think it is. The Siamese algae eaters, there's three main Siamese algae eaters, and I just put it in the chat. But reticulatus is the one I would get. It has a black diamond on its tail, and the long body format ones that have a stripe down the side, and then there's one that has a diamond and a stripe. Then there's one with the zigzag. There's one with two stripes. It's actually a Chinese algae eater too. So don't get the flying foxes or Chinese algae eaters. Those are just kind of aggressive, and they're going to get too big. But I would recommend those fish. And then obviously water changes. And if you're really desperate, you can do a blackout. But usually with this spot algae, you can just chip it off with the razor blade and then watch those variables. Make sure your nitrates are low. Do a water change to get some of those suspended silicates out of there, or just learn to love it, Dr. Strangelove style. Discordia says, let me try this. Any suggestions on what to do with my young sunfish? Bigger species, who's only 3 inches in at the moment in my 90-gallon, but she's killing all my fish. Yeah, they can be really, really aggressive. Is it like a long-eared sunfish, or do you know what kind of sunfish it is, how big it's going to get? Because you could have a foot-long monster on your hands within a year if you feed it well and it's in that large of a tank. If it's a pumpkin seed or a little green sunfish, then you're probably going to have more of a 6-inch to 9-inch fish, something like that. Or if it's a Carolina, or Tennessee, kind of Midwest and Appalachian variant, there's a few now. There's like 6 species now that have been added that are smaller. So then there's like the black spotted, the blue spotted. But really the advice I have is, and it's unfortunate, is to put it in a different tank, because they are territorial. The hotness of the water is probably causing them, if it is a heated tank, is probably causing them to also be even more aggressive, just because they're a cold-blooded creature. And so the warmer it is, the more amped up they get. Whereas in the wild, they'll hang out in the water, and they do hang out in warm water frequently, but they're also extremely aggressive this time of year. It should pass, honestly. So there's that. You could maybe put it in a solo like 20 or 29-gallon tank for like the rest of the month, which sounds cruel and mean, but like if you have to, if you don't have anywhere else to put it, maybe you could do something like that. And then usually by July or so, they're kind of done with their spawning. But from April to June, they can be really aggressive when they build their mounds, especially if they can't build a mound. So sometimes it can help to actually let them have sand and some loose gravel and sticks and twigs over in one corner, and then build up your scape. So on the other side, you've got sticks and plants, or like val or something that grows tall, or lily pads even. And then that way your fish in the other part of the tank will hang out there. They'll have places to hide. You'll block lines of sight. And then your sunfish can actually defend its territory, because sunfish need usually anywhere between a foot to 2 feet of space in a radius. So like from one side of their territory to the other, it's not much, but they will charge, and they will real charge and kill and attack. They'll hit the gills, they'll bite, they'll nip, they'll pull scales and things if it's a short distance, if it's within that territory or about 6 inches from it. But if fish are just kind of scooting it, then they'll do the false charge, and then they'll go back and sit on their mound and brush everything off the mound with their tail. So that's kind of my advice, is either to let it have a territory and let the other fish try to get them up and into hiding areas, or make some sort of screen with plants and wait it out. But they're a mean fish sometimes, and it's probably why they're not huge in the hobby with community fish, you know. Brody's bettas. Let's see here. What else? So if you have a question, again, guys, just at Fishery and then put your question. I'm going in the order that I'm seeing them pop up. Hey, my new Gecko Medaka rice fish have hatched and look great. When they breed, should I sell eggs or hatch and sell live? I would definitely sell live, in the sense that you'll get a lot more money. At this point, they are such a hot commodity, you might be able to sell eggs in a test tube. The eggs take about 15 days to hatch, so you do have some time. But I would say that, obviously selling the eggs, you'll make much more money for the shipping space and time and everything. Whereas growing them out is going to take you a few months. If you feed them ideally, you can actually grow out rice fish in about 2 months, 3 months, up to a size that's plenty big. They'll be reproductive within 2 or 3 months, and which is pretty wild, in that they're little fish, but they are kind of like a little killifish. So they become reproductively active very quickly. But I would say, I mean, maybe mix it up. If I were you, I would get enough breeding stock of adults that you have the ability to then draw from those adults and have some spawning ones. And what I do is, rather than hunting for eggs, is I learn what time my rice fish spawn. A lot of times it's like first light, or at the end of the day, or after the first meal of the morning. Usually they'll pick a time, and your group will have a time where they have eggs stuck to them. What I do then is I get one of those little clear vinyl nets with the water that holds water in it, and I scoop them up with that. I get a pipette, and I just squeeze the pipette and suck up 10 to 15 eggs into the pipette, if that's, if they've got the cluster on them. And if they're doing that every morning, and you're feeding them a good amount of varied protein, so live food, a little bit of chopped up bloodworm, a little bit of daphnia, some scuds, whatever it is, mosquito larvae, you can get them to produce, maybe every day or every other day, 5 to up to 20 eggs, depending on the female and her age. And then you can collect those. And at that point, you can make more money selling the eggs, probably, even though you'll get less per egg. And I don't know exactly what a fair price is, because prices have changed a lot, but I would guess a couple dollars an egg would probably be what most people would think is fair. But I don't know for sure. So I'd try it out, but I definitely make sure that you've got. What about on sand, Leo? What were we talking about with Leos? I've already forgotten. I'm sorry, Leo. Mm, the algae's growing on the sand. Is that what you're saying, Leo? Because if the algae's on the sand, um, that's kind of interesting. It probably means you have a buildup of mulm to the point where it has something to grow on. Because usually algae won't grow on the sand too badly. It's actually growing on the biomass or the bioavailability of hydrocarbons and basically the stuff that would break down into oil in the long term. But it's kind of eating all that molmy stuff and attached under the sand more so in a network, almost like a mushroom or something. But I would honestly, if you don't like it, I would just gravel back that layer and put a little more sand in, do some water changes so it doesn't form again. That's probably what I would do. Maybe get some floating plants, get that intensity of the light off the sand, because the sand is probably storing the heat and the light. It's like little prisms, little lenses magnifying the intensity of that light a lot of times with sand. Yellowstone, what's going on? Let's see here. First class fish, good to see you as well. Pure vanilla frappuccino snails. Is that a real snail? I know the chocolate and the mocha ones, but now you might be toying with me and just telling me coffee things. Also, I saw, where was it? Alan, what's going on? It's me, your cousin. Alan, what's going on, buddy? That didn't come up in StreamYard, but for some reason it came in as a push notice on YouTube. So I guess I did something and it really tells me what you're up to, Alan. Alan, I need to talk to you in that we have got Luke. We've got Luke, you, me, and Danny from Danican Aquatics, Danielle, slated for being the judges for this year's aquascaping project competition for the channel. I'm just trying to get more sponsors and things like that. I do know, however, though, George Farmer is working on a book with a couple other folks. They're working on a biotope book that he's going to be putting out. And I actually have been sending them all my Florida photos of fish and stuff like that, as well as some of my Midwest fish collecting biotope stuff. And that book will be coming out. So there's probably a high likelihood it's coming out quickly. Their due date to their publisher was like this week sometime, I think. So there's probably a good likelihood that I'll be able to get some of those books pro bono for helping write some of the species profiles and submit some of the picture stuff. So hopefully that'll be, some of the prizes will be signed by all of us who worked on the book. And George Farmer's the signature everyone wants, right? Let's see here. Luis Hernandez, hello. Seed shrimp, cyclops, or daphnia? That's a great question. I would say I think that daphnia are probably the best as far as nutrition profiles, what I've read. That being said, they are quite a bit bigger than seed shrimp. Seed shrimp, ostracods as they're known, will help very teeny like fry. So things like rainbow fish fry or little teeny gourami fry, betta fry. I like those a lot more for that. But again, cyclops kind of in between the sizes, kind of like a young daphnia. They all have fairly similar protein and fat profiles, but with the daphnia, you get a package that also has some of the more macro or rather micro nutrients packed into it in a meaningful way because it's just got more mass and it's able to eat more throughout its little life. All right, midlife chaos. What's going on? Do people use vortex diatom filters? I'm guessing. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. A vortex diatom filter. I don't know. I'm sorry. That is something I do not know about. But yeah. John Monroe, what's going on, brother? I see you. I see you. You did the fishery. You got me. Laura, what's going on? Laura says, Alex, 2 questions if possible. Pet flea meds and fish tanks. I read somewhere if pet hair gets in your tank post dosing those tropical flea meds, it'll kill everything. There's some truth to that, I think, in that I have heard it from 3 friends. 3 different times I've had friends mention that they, one was actually they flea bombed the house and they had tanks and saran wrap over their tanks and it still killed all their fish. That's more understandable. Now, for the pets, I've had 2 friends that did the drops that you put on the back of your pets and they had massive die-offs of shrimp and like I want to say some sort of top minnow and some rainbow fish. In both cases, they were kind of more delicate fish that like oxygenated water and water changes. So I don't know for a fact that there is a direct correlation, but there seems to be some sort of correlation, if not causation. So I would be a little careful about that if you're dosing your cat or dog, and they like to get up on the tank, or you just have tons of hair everywhere. I would maybe be a little bit wary. Okay, Discordia also says his sunfish tank is not heated. So 74, that's still warm though. I mean, for their range, they could be as cool as 50 degrees like they are here in Seattle. So that's still on the warm side. So that's on the I'm going to spawn, I'm fully amped up, growing as fast as I will ever kind of thing. Um, No, Laura, I wouldn't think that it's from one little hair floating. I just don't think that anything has that strength. I mean, even if you're looking at like neurotoxins, they're not really that potent generally. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But the kind that you just put on your cat's like neck or whatever or whatnot, I don't think so. Now it could be different if it's the hair touching a collar that like continuously puts out medication. I could see where that might be a little more in contact. That hair could actually have like a high dose because when you're dosing enough of something to absorb through the skin for several months at a time, that is going to be a potent chemical. It's kind of like the opiate crisis going on and the F word chemical, and how everybody's there's all these videos of like cops and people thinking they touched it and they're like and falling over and stuff. And I don't blame them. It's scary, but even with that being so powerful, 100 times more than the next hard substance that people think of, it won't do that through your skin. And the way it does is it's more if you're exposed continuously to a liquidized form into a cut or through a membrane, like if you got a bunch of powder in your eyes or mouth or nose somehow, if it was aerosolized and then you breathed in, that is what would happen. Now, the actual number of people who've been recorded and they show in the hospital that they had that as their cause of the poisoning, it's extremely low, even with like police and other people who are constantly dealing with it, raiding people and doing other stuff. But that's an example of a chemical that's strong enough that in theory it can absorb, it can do these things. And even so, it doesn't usually. So with the flea medicine, I'm assuming it's not more powerful, milligram per milligram or nanogram per nanogram than I guess probably picograms, but whatever, then that kind of stuff. But I could be wrong. Just my mildly educated guess. The other thing is on those videos, if you're thinking, hey, what is he talking about? On those videos where people, especially like police officers or medics, think they're having an over. I feel like this stream's going to get demonetized, but which is fine, whatever. But if they think they've been overexposed to it, they'll oftentimes start hyperventilating and sweating, and then they'll like pass out or they'll throw up or something. That's not what happened. You would slowly just get more tired, and then you'd fall asleep, and then you'd stop breathing, and then someone would be slapping you around, and then they give you the antidote that they all carry now. And it might take a few, but it would wake you up within 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Then they take you to the hospital, you test positive for it. So when you see those videos, even though police and all these other places say that, that's what happened, look and see if they've got in the story, if they went to the hospital and were treated, because almost none of them were. So it's just one of those things where I think it makes some chemicals seem a lot scarier than they are. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a scary ass chemical, but it's most chemicals just aren't that strong. They don't work that way. Okay, aspiring to grow my own fish room, right on. Want to know where you get metal shelves. I spent about $200 on my shelving total on the shelves themselves. Then I got boards from a wooden board place that sells. Hello, honey. From a place that sells marine pressed boards that are laminated and have epoxy in between the layers. So they're like water safe. They're for like bulkheads and cabinets within sailboats, which I know is very niche. That's a very I live in Seattle, so we have that at our hardware stores. But that wood, it's like multiply, and one layer will be going one way, the grain will be going the other. And then there'll be a layer of epoxy, and there'll be a different kind of wood in the core, maybe an amalgam, like MDF kind of stuff. And then you'll or chipboard, and then you'll get the laminate again. So I took that, you seal the edges of it with a nice acrylic, or a resin will work too, and then put that back down in place of the crappy board that they usually sell you with most of those racks. Because if they don't give you metal, or if they don't give you a solid piece of wood, you need to get one probably, because over time that chipboard, or the stuff that kind of looks like a graham cracker, it just dissolves. It turns to mush, and the edges will chip first, which is exactly where the weight is being supported. But I just went to Home Depot or Lowe's and I got those. If you have the money, Husky brand shelving is pretty decent. It'll hold a lot of weight. What you want to make sure of too, though, is that your floor and the part of the room you're putting it in can hold the weight. It's on either a slab or in a corner or along an outside wall, things like that. That's pretty important. Luke says, I find it best to keep sunfish in large groups, 10 or more. Keep aggression down, otherwise single. I only feed prepared food. Nice. Luke, do you keep actual full size? We're talking, that was a little big, but sunfish, like red-eared sunfish and things like that? Or are you talking elosoma? Because elosomas, I would agree that they have a little mean side too, but I'm just curious if you were referring to the big ones or the little ones. If you keep the big ones, that's rad. If you keep the little ones, that's cool too. That's what I do. But I've spent a ton of hours watching the little, or the big ones, but I have only kept them in tubs outside in the summer as juveniles. I've never kept full grown adults in a tank. I've only kept them in pond situations where I can kind of watch them. Alex, whenever you've set up a stock tank mini pond, have you added a small bog filter to boost filtration? I have done that. I think that's a good idea. My opinion on filtration is great. If you like it, go for it. If you want a tank that is spotless, no particulates or anything, then go for it. If you want that extra backup, just in case, a fish dies, or I don't know, a bird falls out of the sky and then the ammonia skyrockets because you have a dead pterodactyl in your pond or whatever, then yeah, have a nice filter and don't worry about it. But I don't have any filters in my pond, and that's why I tend to keep species in my ponds that don't need a lot of oxygenation and things like that. And then only time I run air pumps out there is if it gets hotter than 100 degrees out, and they're only in the sun 4 hours a day, my ponds, for most of the summer. Although I do want to say, at the latitude that Seattle is at, latitude and longitude, we have what's called the summer or spring or each season basically. But like there's the solstice. Well, there's also something called um, the nautical and then the astronomical dusk or sunset or dark or daylight or sunrise. You get the point. And it has to do with how many degrees past the horizon the sun is and how dark the sky is. And I believe it's 40 degrees past the horizon the sun is going to be at its darkest of the night. So that's 3 in the morning or whatever usually. But right now in Seattle, our astronomical sunset or darkness period, like the last light of day on the horizon, essentially, when it's a blue faint hue still, that's kind of what they're talking about when that goes away finally, isn't until 11:58 right now. And then sunrise, the birds start chirping in Seattle this week at 2:48 or 2:58. I mean, the birds are chirping literally 3 hours after they went to bed. It is ridiculous. So even though we're not in Alaska or anything, it blows my mind every year when we hit this point about how short the days or the nights get, really, especially on a full moon and with light pollution in the city. Okay, let me get through more of these. Nick is me. What's going on? Welcome. And Fish Tropic Canada, welcome. Salient Aquatics, welcome. I haven't done a water change for my Neo shrimps in 2 months, but my tank parameters remain stable. Should I still do a water change anyways? That's a great question, and I would say no. I would say as long as your tank is not evaporating too much, you might want to check your KH and GH or your TDS. I'm guessing that's what you were checking. But if all that's stable, no, just let them be. The only thing you do need to look out for is if you have a lot of plants and you start getting a lot of mulm quickly, sometimes your biofilter or your ecosystem won't break that down quick enough. And there is a disease that living in too much of bio waste, shrimp living in that can get, which is like wasting muscle disease. So if you ever see that your shrimp start turning white and like it starts in like a little seam on their shoulder and then it like runs down their back to their tail, and then they die. If you see that going on, it's not very common, but that's one exception where a filterless tank, you might want to do water changes because there's too much that's built up. But that's unusual, and if your stuff's stable, I wouldn't mess with it. The number one thing people do to kill shrimp is they think, oh, everything's going okay, but something must be off because, like I was told that I'm going to have to do X, Y, and Z. And they do that, and then boom, it crashes. That and their shrimp die. They added some chemical or whatever. All right. Lara's part 2 to her question. You have a bloom of green blue algae, I think. Never seen it in real life, but it's definitely blue to green, and in moss rocks in my Iwagumi style, hydrocrotal tripartita and stone only. Yeah. So what I would do is get some erythromycin or Maricin 1 and just get that antibiotic. Open the little pack that's for, they're usually either for a 10 or a 20 gallon. The packs, the ones for the 10-gallon, that's the most normal kind you'll see. And I add half of one of those packs to 10 gallons, and that will kill it in 2 days. That'll kill all your, it will also cause a slight dip in the strength of your biological filtration, but it shouldn't kill it. You should have a robust enough, if you've got a sponge filter, hang off the back filter or whatnot, even if you don't have a filter at all and you just have plants, it'll take it. That's what I used when I got back from Florida recently in the video. And I said that my tanks are all doing well after 3 weeks without caring for them. That was that video. You can see a really good example of when algae has been allowed to take over. And cyanobacteria is not something you need to treat inherently when it's just in small amounts or it's just on, like, for instance, the substrate or under the substrate layer. If it's in those conditions, actually, you can probably leave it and it won't be an issue. But if it's growing up in the oxygenated water and starting to blanket things and spread, or on like the underside of your floating plants and spreading, that's when you want to nip it in the bud and get rid of it, because it will cause cyanotoxins sometimes to build up in the water. And suddenly, those are weird, because suddenly your fish will get twitchy, and like a day later or 12 hours later they'll die. There's not much of a warning between a deadly dose and a not deadly dose. It's kind of a boop switch. So yeah, I just throw half a packet of erythromycin in there, or a whole packet if it's a 20-gallon tank. Whatever the instructions are for erythromycin, gram-positive antibiotic. It's one of the most mild ones that we have in the hobby. That will destroy cyanobacteria quickly. Shady Grady Fishery put a beautiful piece of African driftwood in my Neo shrimp tank, and a week later, white fuzz has grown out of half of it. Tried scrubbing it, vacuum, it just came back. Yeah, it will. So what that is that is the lignin and the cellulose in your wood, and it's coming out and it's forming a hyphae, which is a network of mycelium that's in a fungal network. And then instead of having a fruiting body, it has a mold body, or a sporulating body, instead of having a cute mushroom. And it just looks fuzzy, right? Well, it actually is high in lignin and cellulose constituent products, amino acids and things that have been ripped apart by that fungi. And your snails, shrimp, little live bears, they love that stuff. As unsightly as it may be to you, it's actually not harmful, and it will go away. Some wood, especially very dense woods, it'll keep growing like that for 3 or 4 months, and you can take it out and scrub it, and hit it with hydrogen peroxide if you want, and that will kill it all. But it will come back until it's done leaching tannins. You can also boil it if you're really sick of it and you don't want any tannins coming out of it. But it's actually a good thing, and it just adds diversity to your aquarium. Let's see here. All right. What was my Randy, you've been with me a long time on this channel, this community. I want to thank you, buddy. So Randy says, what was your very first aquarium? My first aquarium was a fishbowl, and it had a fish in it named Elvis. And I won him by throwing a quarter, I think, or a penny, whatever it was, at like age 5 or 6, into a shot glass at a carnival. It was actually at our school. And it was like this janky carnival that came to town, and they would have, silly prizes and stuff. But the goldfish were definitely, like, I think everyone got one. And it was basically, you pay a quarter to play, and the goldfish were penny goldfish. So they're making 24 cents a kid or whatever. And I think they just hit the local Petco in town and whatever. But yeah, that was the first tank, followed by, get this, Fish Fam Link, thank you very kindly, buddy. I appreciate that. Show some love, support, give a thumbs up. Yeah, we got, how many thumbs up do we have? That can't be right. We don't have an 18. That can't be right. Let me reload that and see what it says. I was going to say, the thing I hate about StreamYard is it doesn't tell me, it'll tell me super chats, it'll tell me members, but it doesn't tell me when memberships are gifted, and it doesn't show me the, like, oh, you've been a member for 22 months, so you have your little message thing that you get to say every month, which is frustrating. That's really frustrating me. I wish they would fix that. I don't know how it filters any of that out, but it does. Let's see here. Alex, I'm really bad at being direct, I guess. Natural light only so far. Haven't needed light as in a window. How can I get rid of the stuff? Oh, yeah. Erythromycin. Yeah, just get it with that. Okay, let me see here. Let me get down where you guys are. I'm behind. Alex, can you explain why my tank seems to pearl mostly at night? That's CO2, my friend. If it's at night, that's CO2 leaving the plants. And if it's in the day, it's oxygen leaving the plants. And yeah, that it's kind of interesting to watch, but that's why you turn your CO2 off at night if you're using a CO2 injection method in your tank, because yeah, it can poison your whole system that way. A YouTuber, what's up? Gardaki, what's up? Good to see you guys. I love how many folks are coming through tonight. Fishery, I found a free PDF for Diane Walstead's book. Oh, nice. Right on. Yeah, I feel like a water witch reading it. Yeah. I wonder if her book is in like the Creative Commons now, or whatever you want to call it, the public domain. All right. So Alan was asking when I'm going to launch stuff. Alan, I need to message you or call you. Let me jump down to where we are at now, because I have a sneaking suspicion. I know I'm going to miss questions this way, guys, but I'm trying to give thorough answers like I would in the comments normally. But I have a sneaking suspicion that some of the people who have asked questions will have left the chat already or have wandered. 81 thumbs. Thank you, Deborah. All right. Well, that's pretty good for 108 of y'all. I'll forgive you 30 lazy people. But let me see here. I'm going to start my way down here at the bottom again, and make sure that I'm not missing or try to catch what I'm missing. Oh, nice, Craig. Your sinus pain is gone. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Can I put aqua soil beside gravel? Yeah. I mean, you need to. Oh, Shady Grady just gave me a super sticker. Yeah, the first money of the day. He's gonna wait. Oh my goodness! It just popped out of the computer like that. Thank you so much, Shady Grady. I appreciate it, buddy. Wow, that was crazy. Did you guys see how that money just flew out of the computer? Thank you. And I don't know what I did for it. I mean, I wish I knew. I wish I could get Pavlovian dog thing where I know, like, if I salivate, boom, money comes out of the computer. Michelle, how's it going? How are you? Sky Dancer, how are you? Nano Aquarium Guy, how are you? Jungle Nook, hello. Let's see here. George, RB3, what's going on? Good to see you as well. And I feel, oh, Karen, the good twin's here. That's good. Karen, your bad twin was here earlier. She's causing all sorts of hell. Let's see here. Ruse, welcome. So you say, I always have an accent like the Count on Sesame Street. I always have this brown reddish algae kill my plants every time I start a fish tank. I don't know what to do. I think it's in my water. I think it's in your water too, my friend. Now, if I had to take a guess, it's a diatomaceous algae, and I'm guessing you're setting up your tanks the same way each time. Now, I would try putting a bunch of dried leaves in your tank if you haven't tried that when you start it. That will get you some acidity in your tank. Also, it will get you microflora and fauna that eat algae at a microscopic level and will help to digest and start getting that feature going. But also, if you get some nearite snails, they will eat that too. The red and brown algae, unless it's the long fuzzy kind, which is actually kind of unusual, that would be an iron affinity algae, and that would be probably a unique species or semi-unique, to your region if you have high iron in your water. And there's ways you can bond iron out of your water with sulfur. And I mean, even just using dechlorinator helps start that process. But with plants and then the little microorganisms, you can get a long way if you have a healthy cycled tank. If you can get some healthy water from a friend's tank and put it in, add some dried leaves, take a cup from a nice stream nearby or a pond, that can go a long ways towards setting the equilibrium of your system up differently. You might want to try that. All right, let's see here. And again, if you guys need to get at me, just say at symbol and then fishery, and you'll get to me. Clark Abbott, thank you so kindly. Super sticker. Holy cow, look at that. Special delivery. Look at that. Holy smokes. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Oh, geez, man, YouTube just came and took their cut. Wow, cut it right in half. Cut it right in half. With the taxes and the YouTube. But thank you very kindly. ABS Aquatic, what's going on? Big crowd today. Hope we are all well. Yeah, there's the spirit. I hope we are all well too. I feel like that's a nice chant for society. I hope we are all well. Are we? Are we not all well? Knights, saints, somethings of New England. Let's see here. Don't mention snails. I'm grieving. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You've had a loss in the gastropod, or no, wait, that's not the right word. Inverts, they're mollusks. Mollusks. Snails, like land snails and slugs in India, they call them molluscums, which is just mollusk. But the way, I don't know if it's their accent or what. But there was this really gross video I saw of a dog that had a bunch of flies on it that had like laid eggs on it. I won't get into it. It's real gross. But the snails were in this vet clinic eating the dead stuff that the vet had cleaned out in this very, very developing nation type situation. And he was like, "Oh, silly molluscums." And I was like, "What is that word?" And I looked it up and it was like, "Oh, it's for mollusk," which snails and shelled creatures are, be them on land or underwater. But yeah, okay. Don't know why I had to tell you guys that gross story. Shiarishi, hello. I like that name. I have 5 glowfish danios in a 10-gallon tank. What can you recommend that I put with them, like guppies, etc.? Also, can I make it work together with them to live with red cherry shrimp? Yes, you can. The glowfish danios are actually Danio rarios or Divario rario, which are a bit mean. They're a bit aggressive, a bit nippy, to be honest. I wish they had picked the Kythit or the Tinwini Danio or the Gold Ring Danio as it's known, or even the Chopra Danio to make a glowfish out of, because they're very active hyper fish that nip. But I would say, what great pairing with that, any mid-sized tetra, Corridoras work great. Plecos were, oh, you have a 10-gallon. Probably wouldn't put Pleco in there. But I mean, you could put probably 6 Corridoras in there, and that would be fine. You could probably put 6 or 7 cherry barbs or something like that in there. They're pretty sturdy. Or tiger barbs. Albino tiger barbs are really pretty, and they actually kind of light up in the black light if that's what you're going for. Yeah. So I'd say you're safe with most barbs. You're also safe with mid-sized tetras, and any bottom dwellers like kuliloches will be fine. They're another really cool one. A YouTuber says, is it really a 50-50 cut profits on YouTube? I hope it's more reasonable than that. No, It is YouTube takes 40%. They take 30% of some of the videos that you post. Like if you post a video and it is just like a tip that you say, like I think it's called the super thanks, where you say, I like this video, here's $5, but there's no live chat going. Then they take, I think, 30% as well. But during the live streams, they take 40% in total. But by the time they give you the cut of it, and then being that you register it as income, and if it's not written off or countered by tax write-offs, essentially, then you get taxed at a rate federally of 28% for it being a freelance entertainment or educator. Either way you do it, they technically do a 28%. So it would be out of a dollar, they're going to take 40 cents right off the bat. And then so you've got 60 cents left. And then after that 60 cents, they're going to take 28% of it. So they're going to take what, 15? Wait, more than that. No, 15. So 45. Yeah, so you get about four after taxes. Yeah, it's half. It's about half. Assuming you have some tax write-offs. Yeah, and then yep, fish, first class fish. You got it. Gastropods. Oh, I said it right too. Wow, Muppet's here. What's up, Muppet? James B. What's up? Plant super thin stem, grows like a ball. Leaves are about 1/16 of an inch. Huh. What would that be? Maybe Aponigeton gayi? Could be that. Grows like a ball. It could also be Elodia. Some of those have kind of like little pom-pom sections, or it could be Kabamba, maybe, that has very, very thin, probably thinner. Yeah, probably like that. I don't know. It'd be hard to tell you without seeing it. If you want, you can hit me up on the Facebook group. That would do it. Okay, let's see here. Freaky Fish Lady Holly, what's going on? Alex, do you know anyone who has mosaic plant? I do. I do know one shop in the Seattle area that has some. And I think Grant Eder of the Garden of Eder Shrimps, who is linked in my description, I believe, still. Grant Eder and Shelby Eder, I believe they have it. Even if it's not listed on their website, I know it's in their pool. It was there a month ago when I was, or whatever, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago when I was in Florida. So don't tell them I told on them, but I know they have some. And I know they have plenty. So yeah, hit them up. Speaking of Danios, the mystery of the unknown fish I found in my new tank, probably Danios. 3 weeks now, and they look like them. Could be Olabi 43. Could be. Danios are good at reproducing. You know, white clouds, Danios, CPDs, all those kind of fish. They're real good at having babies. They sneak up on you. You know, if you've got a densely planted aquarium. Say no to war. Hey, there's a name I can agree with. I agree. And we have blackworms in California. Do I need to move out? The biggest blackworm farms are all in California. Yeah. Cash apps, Alex. Please set up and get 100%. Yeah, Jimmy Lee, I actually have PayPal and I do have a Cash App, but PayPal and Venmo are listed in the description of my video. So if you do want to donate, I mean, you know, it doesn't really, it's okay. I get the social nature of when folks want to donate and say like, you're doing a good job, we're having fun, and kind of build that energy, like the act of publicly doing it in a stream. Like I get that. I like the fact that it's shared and it kind of also shows like, hey, I'm a generous member of the fish community or whatever, you know, like I get that, and I do like that. I also get, though, wanting to do it anonymously, if you support a cause and not wanting to give to a charity or a cause that you support, and not wanting your name all over. I get that also. So the the problem with it is that I think, even though a lot of folks know that they can give that way, they want to give socially because it also kind of feeds off each other. When people give super chats, usually if there's 3 or 4, there's going to be like 15 super chats. That's just the way streams tend to end up going. And if you watch any of the bigger channels, and you'll see that it kind of snowballs like that. And it's an interesting psychology to it. There is. But I agree. If you want to do a donation, or especially anything like, more than a couple bucks, uh, I do get a lot more of it. I do get to use a lot more of it if it comes that way. I still have to pay taxes on it of 28%, but at least I can mitigate that by, for instance, buying fish and writing it off saying that I use them in a video, so that's great. But yeah, very true. Very true. Jimmy, thank you. PayPal didn't work for you, did it, Jimmy Lee? It's just my email, which is Alexander J. Williamson. And my Venmo is Alex _ Williamson _ I think. Is it an underscore or a dash? Shoot. Now I'll have to hold on. Let me check real quick. Bup, 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 bup. Bum, 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 bum. Wah, wah, wah. But it really does make a difference. Because I give away all of my merch profit. I think this is the Venmo. Hold on. Oh, it's a dash. Hold on. Computer, stop it. The right and the left clicker on this computer get mixed up. And I have to say, Brian Levy, he gave me this computer, which is like one of the nicest things anyone's ever done. But it probably can't do HD editing of film that I want to be doing with the new GoPro and all the film that I have, video that I have. And I really want to get a rig to edit that with, or an editor, but no, I can edit it myself for now. So that's one of the next big money things. But somebody asked if I was going to any events or if I was going to the Catfish Cataclysm or the Keystone Clash or the Kalamazoo or any of those kind of things. No, I just don't have the money. I got to go to Florida again in August. And in August, they're putting ceramic teeth in. These are acrylic and 2 white. They're stark white. They're like same as a sheet of paper, literally. And so I got to get that done, and then I got to get the top teeth going too. So they'll have to pull those, but I don't know if they're going to try to pull them or do the first set of implants in the back molars, because I don't have any molars up top. So they could already replace these teeth. And these are all crowns anyways that are all busted from the lightning. So, but yeah, it's just that is taking up way too much. Wait, Patty, you said I need that steampunk beta. Is it not on my Teespring? There should be a steampunk beta on there with a normal beta on one side. It's been a while since you said something to me. But tell me again, whisper something sweet into my ear. Whisper sweet nothings into my ear, Patty. Secret nerd crap. Oh, another big thing I wanted to tell you guys. Monday, Lucas Bretz and I, LRB Aquatic, we are going to be doing a live stream together. It'll be at around 6 p.m. West Coast, 9 p.m. East Coast. And it'll be, this coming Monday. And I'll make a thumbnail and an event for it, obviously, soon. But it'll be kind of an open panel, open discussion about filterless tanks and no water change tanks and the nuances of that, where he and I agree, where we disagree. Friendly conversation. He likes to do completely natural tanks now with using substrate from his yard and stuff, and so forth. And I know Father Fish has a method that's similar to like Wallstead, but also uses the deep substrate rather than an active soil being the focus. And she does, water changes somewhat, whereas he I think is inching towards less of that, but still does them. But we're going to talk about those nuances, and then together, Father Fish wants to have Lucas, he and I all discuss this again in August. So there's a chance that I might be meeting Lou or Father Fish at Lucas's house when I go down in August again. So August, I will be getting more teeth. Going down to pick up some teeth, yo. And then hopefully that'll be an interesting talk. I don't know. If it works out, it works out. But the thing is, I just can't afford to fly and the hotel and then rent a car or however it goes. It's gonna be the same time as the Garden of EDER shrimp, unfortunately. And he has time that we can chat about that, and they live in like the same town practically. So maybe he'll want to go over to Lucas's house and have his say on that, because there's a guy with 500 tanks at his house, literally. He definitely has input. What's up, Kenny? What up, fish tank people? What up, fish people? Let's see here. Nathan Hovey, what's going on? First class. I think I'm going to try next size up pea gravel so eggs fall through them. Yeah, I like that. That's one thing with gravel that why I do sometimes gravel vacuum a tank and do big water changes is if I'm doing something like Corydoras or angelfish or something that I want to spawn. Not so much angelfish. They'll spawn on the glass or on a piece of slate or a rock or leaf. But with Corydoras or egg scatterers, they'll sometimes lay eggs on the glass, but then sometimes they'll fall down. And I like to leave, especially like neon tetras, things like that. I like to leave little spaces so that those eggs will fall in there. But if there's too much detritus in there and the water's not acidic enough, they'll rot. They'll get fungal and they'll turn cloudy and milky looking, and they'll rot within a day or two. Florida is where the teeth are. Yeah, you got it, Liquid Zoo. By the way, only fins. I still love that. But Liquid Zoo, if you guys don't know, now you know, friends. But go to fishfam.link, and it's got schedules of what's going on all the different channels and who's streaming live and all sorts of different info. So fishfam.link, check it out. Let's see here. I'm saying Alex, LRB, and Father Fish need to get a room. Well, yeah, that's the plan. I mean, that's what would happen in August, it sounds like. If Father Fish does come down there at the same time as I have to go back, I will drive up to Lucas, which is like a 2-hour drive from where I'll be. So, I mean, I'm already going away halfway across the country, or halfway, all the way, Seattle to Florida. So yeah, so I know I'm going back to Florida in August, which I don't know how long I'm going for yet, but I have a free place to stay. Slash, when I rent a car, I don't mind sleeping in the car if it's somewhere warm. So I will literally bring a sleeping bag and like a hiking pack and my adapter for my car charger, and then I'll just hit up whatever local Kmart or whatever stores around, the Wigwam store, and then Walgreens, I guess, and then I'll get food and maybe one of those cheap velour blankets, and then I'll just totally trash the thing, the blanket. I'll just, those super soft synthetic ones, I'll like just take it to the beach, get it wet, get it muddy, whatever. And yeah, then I'll just leave it there. Like a terrible human being leaving waste everywhere. Notification on August super stream. Yeah, we will definitely give people a heads up on that one, because there's also a chance we might meet in Tampa and have a public gathering, like have maybe an auction and a meet and greet for all of our channels or something, since it's a pretty like-minded group. We all have such different political beliefs and like personal beliefs of the world, but we all get along with our love of fish. Yeah. But yeah, we're all weird cats. That's for sure. Jay Bloomquist, 500 tanks. I would go get a big concrete pond with auto water changes. Yeah. He's doing, I mean, they're doing shrimp, so they can't. They need all those little tanks. It's wild over at the Garden of Eder. I did a tour of their house, and they've added 200 tanks since I did that tour, which is just insanity. That was like back in October, I think, that I did that tour. I think December I posted it, maybe. But it's definitely the most shrimp in one place in the United States. I'll put it that way. Let's see here. I put rock piles in the areas my fish breed. It helps considerably in giving fallen eggs a place to hide. That's a good suggestion, Gardaki, for sure. Let's see here. K Ivonic, Neon Tetris fighting. I had 11, then I got one more as one died. Now I have 12. Once I added the fish, they all began fighting each other. Some of them have black on their dorsal fin. That's odd. Neon Tetris fighting. What other fish are in there, and what's the temperature? That's very odd. I'm wondering if their water's too hard and maybe they're unhappy. They're uncomfortable. Add some catappa leaves. Add some dense plants. Places for them to hide and to escape one another. That's really the key. Discordia, Florida is a disappointing trip for me. I didn't even see a single alligator. Yeah. Yes. Kari, what's going on? Or Carrie, I forgot what we decided your name was. What you told me your name was. But Kari, so Alex, my TDS meter finally arrived, as well as the stuff to test iron, GHKH, and I was able to test my well water. Yikes. TDS right around 500. Yeah, I suspected as much, that you'd have some hard water. So now you have some choices of, what to do. You definitely want to add some acidity probably to your tanks, unless you're trying to do live bears or Rift Lake cichlids. Yeah. So we can talk more if you have any specific questions, though. Just let me know. Well, we got him. If he's not seeing your question, Yeah, thank you, Patty. Patty, you are a lady amongst little girls. How about that? I got it. New to the live stream. It's all good. Okay, Ivonic, or Ivankic, Ivankic, maybe. I apologize if I said your name wrong. Lindisfarne Druid, aka Ganjawala. Wow, that is a freaking epic name. It's like Viking pillaging. The first town that the Vikings started their pillaging in the UK and in central to northern England / southern Scotland, I suppose. Lindisfarne Druid, which would be the culture there before the Vikings and before the Viking era. So you've got Druids, which were really there more before the Romans even, but you had Pictish Celts thereafter. So we're talking Lindisfarne, coastal eastern part of UK. The Druid, so it's like a secret culture that was almost completely destroyed, uh, of a class of priests and important figures in society, and then AKA Ganjawala. So I don't know about the Walla part, but I know the Ganja part. So man, I'm still going to process that name for a while, right? Carrie. Okay. All right. It's pronounced Carrie. All right. I'll try to remember that. My brain is very full with fish things though, and so yeah. Uh I will try my hardest to remember that though. Let's see here. Okay, I'm getting Surf City cichlids. Yeah. Uh Started a DIY CO2 and I'm shocked at the growth. Yeah, CO2 is incredible. If you've never first recorded instance of the Vikings, yes, I agree. They probably struck several times and killed everyone or had a nice interaction and traded stuff and then left. You know, they weren't just one uniform group of like monster people that just showed up. It took a long time and there were lots of waves of them. Let's see here. Natural treatment for flukes that is safe for shrimp and snails. Yeah, take the fish out, dip them in salt. Super easy. They'll fall right off. Just look up salt dip and what's appropriate for your fish. Walla means worker in Hindi. All right, well, thank you. So is that Sanskrit or actual Hindi? Ian, what's going on? I'm just kind of blown away, not sure what to do. Like for a little nano community and maybe some shrimpies and snails. Wait, what were we discussing again, Carrie? What was your question? Do 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 do. Oh, right. Puffers, pea puffers, they like harder water too. They're fine. I mean, everything's gonna want like in the 7s pH probably, other than guppies and endlers and things like that. But your other things, I mean, Batis can tolerate that. Any sort of labyrinth fish, so your bettas and your little sparkling gouramis or gold gouramis, powder blue dwarf gouramis, sunset honey gouramis, all those will do really okay in even hard water, even with the iron and everything. They'll do all right as long as the acidity is taken care of. And with that, you can add botanicals. But there are plenty of places in the world that have acidic water that's got a lot of minerality too. In fact, Lake Inlay is a place like that. So also your erythromicrons, your inlay loaches, your cherry barbs, your a lot of your other fish that come out of Thailand also do well in acidic, so 6 to 7 water, but with a TDS of like up to 500-600, they can do well. you're not completely, you know, limited by that. Now shrimp, that you're gonna have some issues with that. You might literally need to get some like distilled water, or like you can buy, I know by here, you Sparkle Company or Crystal Company, you can buy a 5-gallon carboy jug of water, of distilled water, for $2.40 refills, and that's 5 gallons of zero TDS water. So I mean, it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but if you kept a tank in a method, like had that on hand and let it dechlorinate off, and then you were doing that, you could actually, you know, you could stock everything pretty well that way, I think. So yeah. Also, guys, I wanted to give a shout out again. It's pinned, but Dan's Fish, to anybody who is looking at fish, getting some odd live bearers, some interesting wild like goodeids, or little gobies, any rainbow fish you could dream of, tons of Corydoras, stuff like that. He is one of the premier sources, and you can get 10% off anything from his site if you are newly registered. If it's a new email, like if you haven't bought something with that email before, at the link that I've pinned, and that helps out. I get a 3% or 2% residual off of that, and then that money goes towards the channel and my living. So thank you. Oh, okay. Carrie, yeah, that should be cheaper if you can find one of those Crystal or Sparkles. Sometimes they'll deliver to your house for free, actually. Give that a go. Try that. Um, Goen G says, a fishery, why would some of my ghost shrimp turn yellow brown over time? Still translucent at first. I thought it was age. Now I think it's a mineral deficiency. That is an interesting situation. Are you putting them in a tank with a dark substrate and plants? Because it could just be that they're from a sandy substrated light background condition, and they're trying to adjust to the camouflage. Every time they shed their exoskeleton, they have the ability to change their pigmentation a little bit. So yeah. Yes, someone said it really calms me down watching fish go about their activity in their aquarium. Yeah, I love it too. Makes me very, very happy. I noticed I have a lot of males. That one that died was a male, and I got a male of similar size. Wait, so the other thing we were just talking, I saw a message about, was German blue rams. How much space did they each need? I would say you can keep a pair of German blue rams in a 10-gallon. It's doable. It's a bit tight. Jungle Nook says Dan's Fish is an amazing quality. Yeah, for sure. And they're so sourced right, and they're cared for properly. They are decontaminated of pests and any sort of parasites so well. And I really just believe in his company. He hires people, pays them right. It's one of those companies that's being run in all the right ways, and the price reflects it. And for me, I just don't buy fish unless I'm either trading or selling, or I'm buying them from a source like that where I can feel good about it, and I know it's not coming from some trans shipper and endangered species and things. And Dan also has a lot of good info on the website. And then also I will stand by what he's up to. And same with Aquatic Arts too. They've got a really good amount of fish right now. And the code FISHTORY15 or FISHTORY10 gets you 15% off Aquatic Arts, free shipping with dry goods and foods. And then shipping has gone down on their site a bit for everything else as well. But I really do support the people doing it right. The Garden of EDER, Shrimp, Shrimp Envy, there's a lot of great places out there. But yeah, Guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. So I'll end it on that German Ram question, I think. But I would say that the German Blue Rams, you could do it in a 10 if you were really forced. And I would say that ideally a 20 long is the best for like cribs or pistos or any of those small little cichlids, you know. I love a 20 long because you can do some dither fish, like some little tetras or some little rasboras. I like to actually pair them with fish that are from the same continent. So for German blue rams, I think pencil fish are wonderful. I also think little tetras like ember tetras, things like that are great, or darter tetras, even better if you can find them from like the wet spot or something. And yeah, it's a really nice way to do a planted tank with little cichlids. They'll have enough room that they can grow out with babies in there, but it's still recommended that you take the babies or remove the parents, let them grow out in the tank, and then you can sell them from there. So you're probably going to still want 2 tanks in the long run, but they're cichlids and they do take good, especially small cichlids, take good care of their babies. So I'm going to call it a night, guys. But thank you so much, and I hope you guys like this form. I need to get a better set behind me and everything. But doing the kind of a 75 for gallon for blue rams, that's amazing. That's great. If you got room for that, that's fine. Just don't put any other giant fish in there that are gonna, squish them. But yeah, I mean, the bigger the better, always for fish. As long as they still have areas to feel cozy. So still have some dense plants for them, even if it is a 75. Like, don't just have giant plants. Have a little cave that's their size so that they feel snug and secure. But, you guys are an incredible community. Thank you so much for the super chats today and the questions and all of that. You guys rock. Thank you, replay crew, and anybody watching this in the future. And I'll be back on Friday Dizzle, even though I know this is only Wednesday, but I'll be back Friday around the same time, around 4:30, so or 4:20, something like that. So I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and thank you guys for being such a great community. Love you much. Take care. See you guys next time.